I'm trying again. Hey guys, how are y'all? Anybody out there? Anybody listening? The 10 people that listen to me, I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for listening, because sometimes, and it hasn't been very much lately, but sometimes I need to get things, out of my mouth and out into the atmosphere. And I don't know why. I can look back on things I've said and done, even all my life, and I'm not sure. A lot of times it was all instinct, A lot of what we do is instinct. It's instinctual. It's, we're just guided by, a spirit, I guess. Sometimes it's the Holy Spirit, sometimes it's not, but it almost seems to me like, and I believe this, that Holy Spirit has, it's the guiding force, in other words. It ties it all together, and even when you mess up and make a big mistake and do the wrong thing, it'll still tie it all up in a pretty little bow and say, look at the lesson you learned, which a lot of times for me, most of the time, just to tell you the truth, most of the time it wasn't fun. It was suffering and all that. And I equally caused suffering and heartache. So I'm not trying to minimize that, but if you look back on things, you'll find out everything was kind of mapped out in a way. And I guess the idea is, if you can start to understand there's a map and that it's taking you somewhere, you don't have to be nervous and upset about where it's taking you. Now, my problem with that is, well, what if it's taking me somewhere where I'm going to suffer some more? I don't want that. And that's where I get, I get short on faith right there. And I've had that problem because I've had a lot of faith in the past couple of years, but the last few months have been not even a little bit difficult. I mean, they've just been ridiculously difficult. And it really has, it's shaken my faith in a big way. And I guess that is that's tribulation, right? I mean, people can tell me that we're not in the tribulation, and I know for a fact that's not true. I'm in the tribulation. I don't know if you are, but I am. And it's been a whole lot worse than I thought, honestly. And if I'm being honest, which I am, because I'm not gonna come on here and lie to you. I'm not. I'm also not gonna come on here and tell you every detail of my life, but I'm not gonna tell you lies. I'm not. The truth is, I've been massively confused and upset, and the whole thing has been, the last few months have been just extremely difficult for me. And that ain't, that's just the truth. And I'm tired. I'll tell you, I can tell you honestly, I'm tired. I'm worn out of the struggle and the fight and the confusion and the persecution, I guess. I'm worn out. And I really want to just find the where can I throw in the towel? Because I'm tired. And that's a lot of that's physical. Now I've had the blessing of being able to, because my health has been bad, I've not been able to work, and I've spent my time studying and all of that type of thing, and really just dealing with everything that I have, all these things that have come up that I guess I needed to look at about myself, things that I had, I kind of did had gone through some of it, for sure, but not the real deep-rooted stuff. I had not really addressed it, like feeling worthless, like, some childhood trauma, and, a lot of abandonment, things that I had not really looked at in my life that now I've had to. I mean, I've just not had a choice. It's just been, I guess, when you start waking up, you can't get away from these things that are brought to you, and you have to deal with them. And deal with them. What does that mean? I don't know what that means necessarily. A lot of it is just acknowledgement. It's just acknowledging that you have these things that you ignore about you, right? Like, for me, I've had a feeling of worthlessness, of uselessness for a long time, and I had to, so it has caused me to do things and say things and be somebody that I'm really not deep down. But until you see that, you don't understand that you're working on that off of that basis, Like I didn't recognize that I was just operating in it. And so that's one thing. And all of those things, I'm not going to go through everything that I've dealt with, but all of those things, even generational things that I didn't think about. I didn't think about those things. I didn't think that those things applied to me, or I really didn't give much credulity to that idea that I would be responsible for my parents and their parents before them and all that, in a way of kind of cleaning it up. But I guess these things get passed down, and there's no reason to think that they wouldn't, because these are things that you're raised with and taught, So, today's been bad for me, and that's why I'm doing this. But because I guess I'm coming to the realization that nothing is really the way that I thought it was. And, I've heard that a million times. I believe that, nothing's the way you think it is, right? Nothing in this world is true. But to really, when it hits you, it's a different thing. Because if nothing's true that I thought it was, then you have to say, well, what is true? What really is true? What is true about me? What do I believe in? Who am I deep down? And that's the hard thing. That's the hard thing. it's a hard thing to deal with, just finding out like these things. Like a lot of people are in denial of the idea that just what's going on, that there's corruption in the government, that like, why would you not believe the government when they tell you what to do with medically with your body? I mean, why wouldn't you? There's people that can't even go there, like they can't even look at the corruption and the problems with that, in the systems we have. And all of that's only going to get uglier and uglier. I mean, it's only going to show through more and more. And then what? I mean, it's like people are just going to I feel like, it's kind of how it felt to me. Everybody's just going to suddenly be like, wow, look at where we are, Because everybody is still trying to go back to work and, move on with their life as if as if we're not even, none of the things are happening that are happening. And you can't. You can't. Because sooner or later, you run into a brick wall with that. Sooner or later, something will hit you, and you'll say, something is not right. That's when the thing hits you that, like Dorothy says, we're not in Kansas anymore. Suddenly it happens, and there you are. And if you haven't even had any time to have any idea what's going on spiritually, if you're not spiritually working on yourself, that's going to be a disaster of epic proportion, in my opinion. And I don't know the answer to it, because people are so closed down to, and I understand, I've been closed down. I've had a lot of things hit me today, and I'm like, that's enough. That's all. That's all for me today. But of course, I don't have any say so about it. Things just come when they come, and that's what's going to happen. And people, I don't know how they're going to handle it. And I know there's a percentage of people that are just going to lose it. They're going to lose it, because even somebody that knows what's happening, like intellectually knows what's happening, sometimes a lot of times I feel like I'm losing it, like I've lost it. Maybe I have. I don't know. But this is, where I'm at with it. And you can just see things coming. And I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know what they're going to do next. But I can feel it coming quickly. And, our families that we love, people that we love, we don't want them to be, panicked and, losing their minds. And, hopefully, and I don't know if I'll be around or not, because, I've got some stuff, but hopefully there will be people that can help and that can say, hey, and I didn't, I did have help. I've had a lot of help. But I didn't have anyone to say to me, look, this is what's happening to you. And this is why. And this is how you can deal with it. You know, I really didn't. I mean, I had already studied into it a little bit, and so I had some ideas. I had begun already working on what people call your shadow, your, you know, the side of you that you pretend doesn't exist, the darkness about you. Like, I had a problem taking responsibility for the things that I did several years ago. I mean, and I could just blame it on everybody but me, right? It wasn't ever my fault. And then I realized, yes, it is. It's always my fault because I'm responsible for me. And I'm responsible for every choice I make. So even if somebody did something to me that they shouldn't have done, you know, for example, let's say I invite a friend over to the house and just to visit, and just because I'm being friendly and because, you know, that's who I am. And well, let's just say that's how it goes. And they come over and we talk and all that, and they spend some time with me. And then I find out later that it was, you know, that they came over to, you know, try to get some information from me and start a rumor, or to steal something from me, or whatever it was, right? And if I find that out later, that was my choice, right? And I chose in that instance to act lovingly and to be gracious and to be kind and generous. And I don't have to, so in that way, I'm good on that level, right? And only, but I could have chosen, once you realized it, you know, the next day you find out about it or whatever, next week, then you could hold a grudge and you can be ticked off and you can set out to get them, right? I mean, that's a choice you can make. But I've started to realize that it's me that has to make the choice regardless of what people do to me. And so I'm choosing to forgive, because I can't live with anger and bitterness and I just can't. I can't be that way. I was that way for years. I was angry and mad at everything and everybody, and felt like everybody owed me because I was just running some deficit on everybody, you know? And I was wrong to do that. And I had to go to people, and I did this a few years ago. I had to go to people and truly apologize to them for what I did to them, for being angry with them, for holding grudges toward them, for the things that I said to them or about them. And I did that. I've done that. And because I don't want to live with that anger and guilt and resentment, and I can't do it. I can't do it. And once I started getting rid of it, then you find there's layers of other things you need to look at, that maybe some kind of resentment you didn't know you had, even deeper with in some other situation, or going way back to when you were a child, or whatever it might be. But you have to get rid of the things you know that that you're angry and upset about. You have to forgive, and you have to forgive, period. Because if you don't, it's literally like putting a lasso around somebody's neck and tying them to you, even going forward, you know, even in the hereafter, from what I understand. And I don't want to do that. I don't want anybody to be tied to something they did wrong to me, and I don't want to be tied to something, I want to ask for forgiveness for the things that I did and hope that they'll forgive me. And that is key. That is key in the way I feel right now today. So, I mean, look, it's okay to get frustrated. It's okay to get upset. It's okay to have to get it out. Say it, cry, yell, whatever you have to do. Throw sticks out in the yard. Whatever you have to do to get that energy out of you. And then forgive. Just forgive. Because no matter what somebody does to you, what you are responsible for is what you do. And there's freedom in that. There's freedom in that. There really is. And I just honestly had to talk myself through through that today. And I have to a lot of times. I have to talk myself through it, and just come out the other side remembering what's important, remembering what love is. And even when I'm confronted with what love is not, I can still choose love. I still can. And that's the choice we all have to make in every situation, in my opinion. If we ever want to have, peace and peace on earth, so to speak, if there is such a thing. I hope there is, but it won't happen until we love each other unconditionally. And until we can understand and control the parts of us that want to, reflexively want to go into anger or fear or whatever it might be. And that's the hard part. If you ask me, that is the hardest part. But it's the key, because you have to totally stand in the fullness of love and measure everything against that. When I start acting up, which I do, eventually I come to the point where I'm like, but really, what good does that do? What good does my misbehavior or my, my fussing around or whatever I'm doing, what good does that do? And I have learned, which is a big improvement for me, I have learned to just do it privately, right? Just if I've got something to complain about, or I've got to get something out that is upsetting me, I do it just to me and God, that's it. I don't involve anybody else anymore, because by the time I get through it, by the time I get it out, then I can come back to forgiveness and love and peace, and I don't have to ever reach out to, say, someone else and give them that. And that has been a huge, 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 huge leap forward for me, because, I've had a hard time with not just speaking what I feel. I feel things very deeply, and good and bad. And I have a hard time keeping it in. I can't keep it in. I guess you call me a passionate type person, and I have to let it out. I have to get it out. But once I get it out, then I can rein it back in and put it in the proper perspective, usually. Not always, usually. And I can do that with, certain verbal things. But a lot of times my thoughts, it's harder for me to get my thoughts under control. But I'm working on that too. So that's where I'm at, guys. I just wanted to. I didn't even know what I was going to say, and I never really do. I often wonder about should I make a video and talk about this that I'm thinking about looking at, studying, whatever. And then, but I end up not doing that, or if I set out to do it, then I end up talking about something totally different, like I just now did. And that's okay, because when I kind of get on a roll like that, I know that's Holy Spirit, and I know that that's the truth. So it's the truth. This is a picture of a sunset in Cairo, Egypt, and a friend of mine is over there now, and she took, she put that picture, put a whole bunch of them on Facebook, and, was showing everybody. So I love that. I thought it was beautiful, and, yeah, just thought I would share that. So listen, guys, I love you, and I do love you. I love you unconditionally. And sometimes I get mad at myself for being as forgiving and open and all that as I've become, laying my heart out. But you know what? I can't. That's who I am. That's who I am, and most of my life I've not been able to do that. I've kept everybody at arm's length, everybody, because, of my own issues. But this is, the past few years are kind of just beginning of me being able to authentically, not trying to get anything back, just authentically give the love that's in my heart. And that's how I feel. So regardless of, if, like I said, I know how it might come off or how it sounds, or I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do. I'm not trying to tell anybody anything. Except for what I'm experiencing and what I've learned and what I'm learning. And I hope that it helps somebody. But if it doesn't help you, that's okay. It doesn't have to. Or if it doesn't mesh up with what you think or believe, that's okay too. But sometimes you can hear things that you don't think you jive with, or you just don't know about, and then it will come back to you later, and you'll be like, "Oh, I remember somebody saying something about that." And definitely for me, I've been thinking about little details of things that have happened maybe 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, something somebody said, and and it just plays in my mind over and over and over again, because it's leading me somewhere, and I just let it, blow by me before, but I can hear it now. And that's what happens when you wake up. You can hear things you never heard before. You see things you never saw before. And even things from years ago will come back to you. Or they have me. So, okay, I'm not going to get going again on a whole new thing. But to those of you who give to me, who help me, who love on me, who teach me, who are there for me. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I know who you are. And I appreciate you very much. I mean, more than you know, or probably, maybe not, maybe you do know. But I do appreciate you. And the rest of you, I hope to maybe know you better, And I thank you for listening, for taking your time, and for just giving me give an ear to the words I needed to get out of my mouth today. Okay. Thanks, guys. Love you. Bye.